1.
We're here. It's Terra Nullius. Episode 23, which means this show is now as old as me. So, not actually, because this is like 23 weeks and not 23 years, but, you know, if this was a 23-year-old show.
You know what Reliant
Wow.
K says, Caleb? No one likes you when you're 23.
Wow, thanks, Alyssa.
Sorry.
Appreciate that.
If that's the case, I've been 23 for a long time.
It's because they're too busy. Oh, okay.
There it is. There it is.
And here comes the self-deprecating.
Yep. Yep.
It's because people are too busy loving them.
Sure.
That's a good comeback,
Sure.
Jordan. That's a good save.
So we're here. This is episode 23 of Terra Nullius, and of course, I forgot to change the names and the overlays because you guys are not playing Toity and Ari today.
Nope.
Playing some other people, but I mean, we'll get to that. Jordan is playing Darius though, so that's
Woo, Darius!
so. We're gonna go back to our little side story, not exactly a side story thing.
It's a main storyline.
It's part of the main storyline. It's just not with the main group.
It's the side main storyline.
Yeah, sure. All right. We're getting more and more complicated with these.
It's my main pain.
Yes, at the very least, it's that. So, we are going to follow Darius into the depths of the abyss and see how being kind of dead looks like.
Oh, goody. We get to explore my early teen years.
Guys, I just realized something. We really do need to take
That's hilarious.
we need to make sure we take good notes this week since Emily's not here.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, guys. I can't take notes this week. I'm playing Darius.
Right. You don't know how to read. All right.
I don't take notes. I just rewatch the episode back.
Same.
Emily can watch the episode. She'll be fine.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take notes.
Do it. It's
You
fine,
do
that's
that,
fine.
Seth.
You can do it.
Please,
will.
Seth, be the hero.
So, I think we pick up. And let me let's see. I'm trying to think of how to describe this opening shot we get. So, we're in not like complete blackness, like it's not the complete like utter blackness that we were in before with Darius, but rather we see a place that's still obviously in whatever this transitionary stage is between life and death, but it seems like it's taken a little bit more of a solid shape, at least where you guys are, and the reason it has is because Darius has been, well, he's been training a bit. So I think actually what we're going to do first is, Jordan, would you make a roll for me? So I was thinking about this off screen in between sessions, and I'm thinking, so there's a couple of ways we can do this. The Caretaker has been training you to control the dark matter that exists here. How would Darius have gone about doing that? How would he be approaching this control? Like, because we used wisdom saves last time, right? For you to like manipulate the matter and make things reality. But like, I'm willing to hear an argument for a different way that Darius may be going about this. How does he do it? And like, feel free to just make up however you think this might be done. But like, Darius is learning how to control his reality. How is he doing it?
So I think the way Darius has been doing it is, in a sense, he has been using his head.
Okay, sure. I like where this is going.
But it's less that like he's mentally trying to control it and stabilize it with his mind. But I think, like, especially after he's like slashed open last time, as he slashed open the ground with the Makaweedle, and that's kind of what broke through
Right.
through the illusion. I think Darius is determined, okay, if I can basically grab this and like pick this up and make it do what I want to do, I can like, so he's like trying to physically pick this sort of
Physically
matter
mold
up.
it. You know what I think
Yeah.
you're using, Jordan? I think you're using your mason's tools.
Oh,
That's what I think this is.
That's what I was literally about to say. I was
Right.
like,
Same.
Right? Because I mean, it wouldn't make total sense to have
Mason's
you be
tools with that
ripping
-1
into it or whatever.
intelligence.
But like that's the thing, right? Darius is a mason, and so he's literally learned to channel his skills as a mason to manipulate the dark matter, whatever this is, right? The reality around him. So would you?
and
make...
Mama's helping you because I'm proficient in masonry.
Yeah, there you go.
Also,
There you go. That works.
Actually, I am as well, I think.
Boom!
that's how we learned it.
It's a family business. It's like it's
Yeah.
actually legitimately how he learned it.
Right? Yeah. There
That's
you go.
why-
So you guys did well.
Yeah.
That's why I took it.
Yeah.
Because I was like, oh.
Yeah, and so, I mean, surprise, surprise, as I change the overlays here, Seth and Alyssa are going to be playing Darius's parents.
Hi, honey.
Yeah, and I'm excited to see your guys' interpretation of his parents. So let's have you make that roll first here, Jordan. So go ahead and make a, Mason's tool, or let me, sorry, what's this here? Yeah, let's see what you got. Okay, so you got a 14. Yeah, I think it's coming along nicely. So if you look on this map here, I think this is kind of what you've formed, right? You've made a little, like, place, like a home here. Some sort of shelter, right, to shelter you from the things that dwell here.
Yeah, yeah, totally. Because I see more than black space right now.
Got
totally.
it.
I
Yeah.
love this warm abode.
I mean,
that
I'm
God made
loving
himself.
the black space that Darius has created. It's really great.
Well, so
It
that's
is.
the thing. That's what it looked like before, but now it looks like this.
Oh, damn.
Whoa!
Whoa!
So
Wow.
you've made this, Darius. You've made like this, like shelter over here, right? And I think, I mean, maybe some of this you haven't made yourself, but I think you've at least made the path. And these paths lead to different places that you've kind of found or discovered or made in this transitionary plane. So you've like laid down the stonework here for like to different places that you could go in this transitionary plane. The other things that are around here, these are like tombstones. So answer a question for me. Did you make those, or are those from something else?
Oh. I think I made those.
Okay. Yeah. Why did Darius make this a graveyard?
So is it a graveyard or is it
It looks like a graveyard. It certainly does. It can be stylized how you want it to be, but
okay.
it for sure looks like it.
Okay. Why did Darius make it a graveyard? I had something and something was starting to form and then it just went
Yeah, hate that.
I think Darius always had regrets about the fact that whenever everything happened with his parents and his uncle, when he ran away, he never got to bury his folks.
That's what I figured. Yeah.
So you buried them here!
So we see Darius lowering his parents into a shallow grave. No.
We're like, what the heck, man?
No.
Sorry, we have to make this a quick session. I've got some quiche I need to get back to in
In the real world, yeah. Darius is suddenly aware of his reality. Yeah, he broke the fourth wall. That's what he did. With his mason jewels. So,
It was so strong it broke the fourth wall.
exactly, yeah.
He was just angry and angry. Oh my! I'm actually becoming Darius now.
I know.
I was so angry, I punched the wall, and it's Darius. Darius is actually breaking through the fourth wall and becoming me. Guys, I don't know what to do.
Next, we'll just see Jordan starting his beard to grow longer.
He's just a little bit longer
Guys,
every week.
Guys, I have a problem. I can't stop talking like this. People at work get really annoyed with this. They don't know. There was this girl who I'm pretty sure she was like Eastern European, and she just did not dig it. And she was like,
And then we
He's
see
like,
Jordan's
"That's
just
really
growing
offensive."
shorter. Yeah. Jordan's like shrunk a foot.
Sometimes he gets really angry and his eyes start to glow red.
you know,
Oh,
if
no.
I was as buff as Darius, I wouldn't mind that. It's like,
Yeah.
I'll be a little shorter if I can
If I can have the
turn
muscle.
that height into muscle.
Yeah.
That'd be fine. If I had to become any of my D&D characters, it would be Akashi.
Nice non sequitur there. I like it.
That was awesome. That was great.
So you want to fail at everything? Is that what you're saying?
Whoa.
I'm already
Everything
not that
except
far off.
yourself.
Oh no. Oh boy.
Oh, stop.
I was trying to
I
be
mean,
offensive to
Akashi
your
is great
character.
at stealth checks. Like, every single time he's made a stealth check, it's like, he is the knight.
It's the one thing that I'm not good at. Everything else I just match up perfectly. No.
Jordan, stop it.
Anyway. So,
Honey, stop beating yourself down. You're doing a great job.
yeah, so we
I
see...
love this little graveyard that you've made. It's beautiful.
His little weirder names are on it, though.
I mean, it's a little offensive, but I understand that we're dead, honey, but we're talking to you still.
Oh,
Like, we're
man.
alive in your heart.
Oof.
And Darius just glances over to the one that he made with his name on it. And he like slowly just kicks his foot and like lowers it down. Right. Right.
Okay, so what's the actual situation going on here? Why is that the case? Like, you just wanted to...
I think Darius just wanted the closure of being able to. I think Darius just wanted the closure, and I think.
You know what this is then? I think this is a replica of the graveyard next to where your tribe would bury people, right? And so this looks like a dark, weird, mystical version of Darius's tribal graveyard, right? We see like I honestly think there probably were like tombstones made for your parents, but they were never filled. Like the graves were never filled, right? Because they would have this position of honor, right? And so I think this building that you've made, Darius, that was the like mausoleum for like the leaders of the tribe, right? The tribal leaders would be buried there normally. And so yeah, you've constructed like tombs for your parents, replicas of the ones that actually exist, but don't actually hold your parents in them.
Right.
And so yeah, we see this like dark, mystical, weird graveyard thing, and then we see I think the first shot we get is you guys are kind of like sitting around about where I placed you on the map here, and there is a campfire kind of just glowing here, and you guys, I mean your parents and the caretaker are all just kind of sitting around it.
Let's gather around the campfire and sing.
Right, I mean, yeah, it's like honestly a rather peaceful little situation here. And this is where you guys hang out, right? I mean, the caretaker has to leave sometimes, but most of the time he's with you. And you guys are sitting around the campfire, and I think what we see is a. I mean, let's do this. So, Leonechka.
Yes. Leonechka.
What are you doing around the campfire? You're sitting around. What would you be up to?
See, I want to say polishing my swords, but I do not think that is necessary in the world. See, I switched to the French.
You did switch to French there.
I do not.
Leonechka.
I do not think this is necessary.
There it
Dang
is.
it, it's a freaking horse!
It's not le. It's re.
Necessary.
Russian.
See, but that gets me into a different French accent. I do not think it's necessary in the land of death.
That makes sense.
So I probably would be. Actually, you know what? I'd probably be like have the whetstone, and I'd be sharpening my sword, even though I know it's not necessary. It's just something is so ingrained in my head.
Oh yeah, I mean it's probably it's probably calming anyway, right? It's relaxing to do that. So yeah, I mean Leonechka. So I grabbed the token for you. Does this make sense as a token?
Leonechka wears no armor.
Okay, yeah, I mean,
but it'll work for now.
Yeah.
But I'm a barbarian, so I don't want to wear armor.
Yep,
so.
that makes sense.
We could just say that's my metal
like
chest,
furs or whatever, right?
His metal chest. I always knew my dad was metal.
Yeah.
I was hoping that would be the joke.
So, yeah, we see Leonechka sitting around the campfire, sharpening his sword, looking like the metal boss he is. And then we pan over and we see Krina. What's Krina look like and what she's up to? What is she up to? That's the token I found for her, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think that's pretty accurate. I think I could picture, like, that's what I pictured is like the big, luscious hair.
Yeah.
You know, like very, kind of druid-like.
Cool.
Yeah, with like the nice like green colors and whatnot. So, yeah, that's pretty accurate. I think Krina, when she's not helping Darius. So actually, can we add a D4 to that roll that Jordan just made? Because I think I would be helping. I would be casting guidance like constantly whenever he's like trying to do things. If that makes sense.
Yeah, sure can. There you go.
Yeah, so that
16.
makes that a 16.
Sure.
I don't think it really makes a difference, but just so you know, basically whenever he's gonna make a roll, I'm gonna be like casting guidance. So
yeah. So the graveyard around
love.
you looks a little bit more solid than it did a second ago.
There you go.
Yeah.
But I think Krina is using like her druid craft to make well, it can only make flowers blossom, I guess. It can only make things bloom. So I don't know if she could really do anything like that.
Well,
but
Darius certainly can make flowers a reality. Would you like to make a mason's tool roll, Darius, to make flowers out of
grab
stone?
a flower out of the ground and
Yeah.
pull it up?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we'll do that.
and then roll another d4
Yeah.
for guidance.
Ooh, yeah, 16.
Well, that's okay.
17.
17.
I mean,
Still
yeah,
more
no,
than
I mean,
16.
so wherever you want to have flowers in this graveyard, Darius, I think there are some, right? They're not they maybe don't look as real as they would be otherwise, but yeah, there's flowers around here, and maybe
I
Krina
want to
is
make
like
them bloom.
exactly, yeah. We see Krina like Darius is like pulling from the ground like the plant itself, right? And then Krina goes around and like makes it bloom. So maybe there's like we see a rather like dreary bush like next to where you guys are kind of chilling, and then we just see Krina go over to it. And how do you do this exactly? What does it look like when you do it?
It's a verbal and somatic component. Snapping of the fingers is going to be the somatic, and then verbal will just be like grow.
Right. Yeah.
Grow.
Yeah.
Grow.
And so Karina says that, and then we just see the flowers suddenly like, and it's this is the thing, right? Everything around you is like muted colors, right? So it's like we're in an old like black and white movie, except now the flowers, right? They start blooming, and they have a vibrance to them that's a stark contrast to everything else in the graveyard. Yeah, and so there's like spots of color in this otherwise dreary existence.
Yay,
Yeah.
that's all I want. I want to make this a little less dreary.
Just like Darius in the campaign.
Making things a little less dreary. And so when we pan over to Darius, what's Darius look like in his, I mean, yeah, like, have you changed at all the way you look? What are you doing?
I think Darius... Could I only change how I look?
You can bend reality, my friend.
Okay. So
I'll make you roll if it's something super drastic, but...
I want to change how Darius sounds.
Sure.
Okay.
You already upgraded your microphone.
So I think instead of talking like this with a little bit of the high pitch, I think Darius will start to talk a little more like this.
Yeah, so maybe he has a little bit more confidence in himself.
A little more confidence and better genes.
So do you mean genes as in like what
Genetics?
Well, it's I think what it was is that Darius is like whenever Calvitus was like bonded to him or bound to him, there were some like
binded it.
Huh?
Nothing.
Binded it?
Binded it. No, I'm just
I'm
completely making it. Yeah.
Being the deaded it.
Yeah. Exactly.
When he was beamed to Darius.
When he was beamed to Darius.
when he was bound to Darius, I think there were some like physical setbacks because there was this idea of like trying to empower the body and everything, and things just didn't go well, didn't go right. I think one setback was that Darius, there were some like his voice wasn't able to mature into a full dwarf, the deep dwarf voice.
Yeah,
so,
you got pumped full of
so
demon
young.
hormones and you didn't develop right. Oh, that's so interesting. I'm into it.
Oh boy.
So now Darius is kind of like figuring out, okay, this is what I think I would sound like without, this is what I would want to sound like without this stupid.
I mean, yeah, this is your own reality too, right? You can make up what you sound like, right? Yeah. I'm totally into it. Like we've now figured out that Darius has always not really liked his voice, and it's just one of those things, right? Where we weren't really aware that he had this thought, but
it can be pretty embarrassing to go to the market, ask for a hammer, with a little girl's voice like this.
Yeah. Cool. So what are you doing, Darius?
I think Darius... How long? Like, do I know? Like, how long has it felt like?
It's been... It's honestly really hard to tell.
Does it at least feel like it's... Like
it can feel as long or as short as you want it to, honestly, right? Like it all depends on Darius's perception. If he thinks it's been longer, then it kind of has in some weird sense, right? The time is not the same in this place.
Okay.
Lunchtime, definitely so.
Swibbly wobbly, timey-wimey stuff.
Well, I was making a Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy reference.
So I think what it is Darius has like a brick.
Okay.
And he's been like whittling down bricks
Sure.
to be like little miniature versions of his friends.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Toides is very miniature.
Oh, stop.
Yeah, so he's been carving, like chiseling away at these little figures, and I don't you don't need to roll for that because that sounds like something Darius would be able to do. But
He's got a lot of time from the sounds of it,
exactly.
so
Yeah, and I think like as he's getting the finishing touches done on, curse this emotional roller coaster ride.
Right? Thank you, Ghost Pickles. I was just thinking the same thing. I'm like, oh my god, it's not even like we haven't even gotten to combat yet.
So I think Darius says, as he's like finishing up, probably finishing up the last one, like so he's finishing up Toity because he's like, I don't know how I'm going to make it so small, but we'll roll with this. We'll work. So, I think he goes after he finishes them. He holds all three up in his hands and he goes.
He starts playing music.
I was gonna say, what?
His phone goes
what
off.
The heck? That was supposed to happen. I know what that was for. That was supposed to be stuff for Saturday.
Suddenly, music starts playing.
Suddenly, suddenly
The caretaker's like, "Oh, sorry, that was mine. No, I need to take this."
suddenly Darius,
God of life, you know.
Don't worry. In a couple thousand years, you'll understand the beauty.
Did I also mention I'm a time traveler?
Mm-hmm.
So I think. What was I gonna say?
He has the figures. He looks.
He has the figures. He's looking at them and he says, "I don't know how, but I'm going to get back to you." And he like puts them in his back pocket.
The feels.
I thought you were gonna say that you carve up a couple of dice and you start playing.
Oh my gosh. Like,
so let's just play that. Let's play what it would
Yo, what happens is, I forgot to tell you guys, me and Jordan talked about this, and we're actually just gonna zoom in and do a weird one shot.
Hey, Caretaker,
no,
can you
it's
come
perfect.
over
The
and
caretaker would be the DM, and then we would be the players.
And suddenly we're back to episode 1, and it just repeats over and over.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
That's what this actually has been. Darius has been dead for
hilarious.
He's just been playing Dungeons and Dragons.
It's literally guys, what it is Darius never finds out what happened to you guys, and so the rest of the campaign is just him headcanoning, like, I wonder what would happen if they kept going and I could find out what they did. And the caretaker just humors him. He's actually been dead this entire time, but the caretaker's just like stringing him along with his game. Oh boy. Yep.
Oh wow.
If I was a completely malevolent jerk, I would maybe do that. Nope.
Oh boy. Okay.
Oh,
that's great.
I'm thankful that you're more benevolent than malevolent.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he. Oh, by the way, if we ever get D&D figurines, they were totally made by Darius.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
So, I think Darius, just puts them in his back pocket, and, and then kind of just looks over at the caretaker.
Yeah, so we see the caretaker, and before, he's always kind of a little dark and gray, right? And normally his hair is like, his flame hair is a very, very light blue. But you see that it's started to take on a little bit of a little orange. There's just a flicker of orange at the top of the blue. And it's almost as if, and he seems more lively than he was before. Almost as if this time with you has helped him. And we see him, and he's sitting on like a stump. I assume that all of you are kind of like sitting on like a log or something, right? Or maybe like a block of chiseled stone that Darius has made. And he's knitting. We see him knitting some cloth, something or other, from pure blackness. And Darius, you're not entirely sure what he's making, but he's been working on this for a while now. And so he's just like knitting, basically. He's sitting there knitting, and just kind of like staring into the fire, kind of like, but it's not like he's not sad necessarily or anything like that. He's just kind of like focused on what he's doing, just kind of watching the dance of the flames as he like knits. Yeah. Do any of you say or do anything in the meantime here?
I think Darius looks at the caretaker and says, "Caretaker, have you always been the caretaker of death?"
So I think he stops knitting. And he looks at you and he says, "Well, that's a long..." And then we just hear that glitch. And it's like Darius got the story, but he won't remember it.
Ah, God dang you, Caleb.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
I saw that coming a mile away.
Yeah. I'm not just going to lore dump everything to you guys.
What's the point of this episode?
There will be some lore dump, don't worry.
No, that's fine. Okay, so the next thing I wanted to say was...
So you got the answer, right? You as Darius right now remember exactly what he just told you. And it's very interesting.
You should throw a wrench in that, Jordan. Like, that's really interesting.
Using that trick on my crew.
It's really interesting what happened with the jelly donut.
Right? No, like yeah.
Well, no. So I think I want to conclude it with. So is that how you know how to knit?
Right. So we get this entire story. Okay, so no, he totally is like, I guess in a rather roundabout way, yeah, that's the reason that I can knit. Yep. Oh, and I know
Totally what Darius would say though.
Yep. Okay, so but seriously though, me
knowing Darius so much.
Yeah, me knowing who this person is and like the answer to the question, it makes actually total sense that he would answer that way. So I'm totally into it.
That's what I was hoping for.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and so I think he asks you. He says, well, yeah, I think at this point you figured out that he's a male, where before it was unclear. But he still has this otherworldliness about him where it's like those categories don't exactly define him. It's as if he's transcended in some way the biological meanings of those words, even if he still has like
a male presence.
A male presence about him. He's obviously not biological in nature anymore, right? So that doesn't have as much meaning for him. It's honestly in the same sort of way that we consider. I mean, we call God male because he revealed himself as male, but like we obviously know God's not a biological male. It's kind of in that sense.
Yeah.
So he looks at you and he says, Darius, how is it coming along? Do you feel like you have more control than you had before?
Darius kind of looks over at the flowers that, like the sort of otherworldly fake flowers that he had made before. I am, but it's not perfect yet.
Yeah, he kind of smiles ever so slightly and nods, and he says, yeah, I can see that you've done quite a number on this place. I like it. It's been... Well, it hasn't been like this for a long, long time. I'm glad that there are flowers again.
Brina smiles.
Yeah, and he like nods in appreciation at you, basically. Goes back to his knitting.
Do you he looks at the caretaker. Do you have a favorite flower?
That's a good question. Let's see. I'm curious as to what kind of flowers exist in Brazil.
That'll be interesting.
Okay, he's just gonna say his favorite flower is the national flower of Brazil, which is the Cattleya labiata, something like that.
Okay.
It's known as the corsage orchid. Ugh, I
Okay.
can't pronounce things. It's like it's an orchid, so it looks like that, but it's like pink, pinkish purple. He describes it to you, and he says, yeah, it's in like a native of like you've never heard of it before because it's native to.
Right, but is it something that we would have seen on the island?
No, I don't think so. Not on the island itself.
Okay, so I think what Darius does, based on his description, he like reaches into the ground and tries to pull out something that like to the bet that's as close as he can get to what it sounds.
Yeah,
like
and I think
to
he
him.
had just been describing to you how like it's deep in the jungle of the mainland and is only found in this particular place, and how he kind of misses it. And so yeah, we see Darius like reach into the ground and try to like pull something out. Right? Go ahead and make a Mason's Tools check. We'll see how good you are. At
Roll
this.
that D4 also. I'm gonna cast guidance.
Yeah, what does that look like when you're casting guidance, Karina? How have you been doing that?
Well, that's not really gonna matter much for this, but
Yep.
yeah.
Well, might as well roll the d4 anyway.
I mean,
Eh,
you know, never.
7.
Yay! But it says you touch one willing creature, so I think I like go over and like touch his knee,
yeah,
real quick.
Me?
At his knee, you know, like he's sitting down, like.
Oh, okay.
I go over and I touch his knee, and I think I just start. I think I just whisper like, I don't know, like what's a synonym for like help or guide?
Aid. I can't.
You could just say something in Dwarvish.
That's true. Yeah, just say some Dwarven word.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, so Darius, you pulled this up, and it's obviously like, it's like in comparison to the real flower, it's as if a child drew it from.
That's so
pretty.
Well, and it's still the other real sort of.
Oh yeah, no, and it literally looks like a weird scribble, right? It's as if like you drew this with like chalk, right? It's like chalk zone, right? It's like this weird like chalk flower, but it doesn't quite look like it's supposed to, obviously. And so
It's like when we were making those signs in front of the tower.
yes, yeah. But the caretaker just kind of nods at you, and he kind of says, "I appreciate the attempt, Darius, but I don't think I'll have a chance to see that again." Part of... Wait, what?
Oh boy. Ghost Pickles, you're so funny.
I thought that was great.
That's very funny.
I will.
For the people who aren't in chat right now and are watching this later, our good friend Ghost Pickles just said, "What a coincidence! My favorite flower is the squiggle flower. Good job."
I will give you my best squiggle flower, Ghost Pickles, and I will.
Yeah, and I think he says as well. He says, "I think it's part of my punishment."
Ooh.
Punishment.
And so I think, Darius, you know exactly what he was talking about because you just got the story,
yeah.
but we don't as the audience.
Yeah.
This is a fun mechanic. I like it.
I like the mechanic where I don't have to tell my D&D players anything.
Mm-hmm. No, it's just I get to tell them exactly what I want to tell them and not anything more.
I think Darius kind of looks down at his hands.
Now, hold on. My question, though, Caleb.
Mm-hmm.
Would his parents remember?
Yeah, I mean, his parents would remember. Well, I see what you're saying. Yeah, like when they, I don't know.
We don't know
We'd
if-
have to see. Yeah.
We don't know if his parents live past tonight.
Exactly.
That shouldn't matter, though. We should get to know. We're gonna remember.
We'll see. We'll see. We'll see what happens to them, and then we'll decide if that's. But right now, I'm not going to tell you.
You know me, always just trying to find the loopholes
I
in
know
their
you.
logic.
Yep. Mm-hmm. So Caleb, have we ever told you about? Yeah.
I have nothing to tell you tonight.
I know.
Does Krina like to wear her hair up?
That is the question that everyone wants to know.
Ari, let
Okay,
down
I
your
will
hair.
have you know, by the way, I thought of a perfect example where somebody putting their hair up was an actual character development.
No, it totally was an actual character development. I mean, Jordan made it into the actual character development, but
The Baudelaires, the oldest Baudelaire from Lemony Snicket's Series of Unfortunate Event. Like, that's her thing, right? Whenever she puts her hair up, that's when she's inventing something. I was like,
Sure.
see,
Yeah,
it can happen.
yeah.
Hair
No,
can be important.
it's just a running gag now, Alyssa.
Whatever, I'm just saying.
Maybe
Just
we
like,
should
oh
go
yeah.
catch it.
Yes.
If it's running, maybe we should go catch it.
I know. Oh yeah, is running people insane.
It's running people insane.
It was an
I don't
attempt.
think
It was
so.
a failed.
It was
You
a
know what
failed
we
attempt.
need is that we really just need t-shirts that just say, oh yeah.
Oh yeah. A guy stabbing himself saying, "Oh yeah." Okay, that was the weird part.
Well, no, it needs to say,
Oh,
oh
yeah.
yeah, and then on the back say like R.I.P. Gret.
Yes.
Yes.
And then like this date to this date, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's
Yep.
like the actual Terra Nullius states.
I mean, yeah, like honestly, over Christmas break, I might be working on some Terra Nullius merch. That might be a thing. Some merch.
Dope.
Some merch. Some
Anyway.
mercenaries. That's what I meant. Yeah.
So I think I think Darius looks down in his hand, and he says, "Yeah, I know what it's like to bear a curse."
I figured that you did. How does it feel, Darius, being free of him?
Oh ho ho! You have no idea. Hold on, I have a.
You have a song?
No. I have a song. There we go. I'm glad I no longer share a body with the devil.
Yeah. Yeah. And so remember you said like, and you have no idea. And he says, I think I have somewhat of an idea. A burden such as mine. It can weigh as heavily as a devil on your shoulder. I want to thank you, Darius, for what you've done so far here. For me, I haven't had much of a reason for a while now for anything.
I think like Darius reaches back into the pocket or into the pack where he put all the figurines, and he pulls out the one of Ari and looks down.
Oh, stop, Jordan! No, don't.
Here it comes.
I don't want to cry today.
We're about to go down the emotional roller coaster.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to like.
No, it's all right. It's all right.
Go
And
ahead, keep
I think
Don't mind
Darius
me.
just kind of rolls it around in his hand. You know, Caretaker, I think I have you to thank more. I mean, after all, I'd already be gone. I'd already be gone if, well, you hadn't done something.
I didn't do much, Darius. I can't do much. As you might recall, I'm doing the opposite of my job right now. I wish I could do more. I honestly do. I wish I was someone else. I wish I had another aspect. Except for death. It's the worst of them.
You know, when they put Calvitas in me, my one job was to kill and destroy. Some jobs, it's okay to go the other way. At least on occasion.
See, for you, though, Darius, you can get rid of your demon. You can leave it behind, even if it took your death. It can leave. The burden that I have, if I got rid of it, which I could, mind you, if I wanted to. At least I think I could. If I got rid of it, I would go too. You and Calvitas, you're separate people. One is gone. One is holding on. If death exists, then I have to exist as well. There's not much I can do about that. I can't just quit my job, as much as I would like to. I'd like to think that I'm doing as much as I can, trying to sabotage as much as I can. But, well, never mind. You don't want to hear any more laments from a man who's lived far too long and seen far too much. And then he just starts, like, knitting again.
Was it really leaving, though?
I don't know, Darius. I don't think I'll know until I die.
One thing is for sure. You may still have a demon to fight. But you've put up one heck of a fight. And you still are doing a fantastic job, as you can clearly tell. And I think Darius, like, stands up and just dances a little dwarfish jig.
You're right. It's this, like, awkward moment where, like, Darius is... It's like the moment in Guardians of the Galaxy where the guy's just looking at you like, what are you doing?
Tough, bro.
Yeah. And I think he... Like, you do this, and at first he's just staring at you, and then he starts to smile a little bit, and then he kind of laughs. And this is the first time you've ever heard this guy laugh. And yeah, he says, thank you.
Life is in you. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. And then we start getting Terra Nullius the musical. All right, I'm going to switch you guys over to the other roll 20. We're going to do show tunes now. No.
Tune in next time for show tunes.
Yep. So
No Man's Tune.
No Man's Tune. Oh my god.
I was thinking Terra tunes.
Terra tunes, yeah. So he seems to finish
Jazz hands.
his knitting. So he stops and he puts it down, and this is like not a like I'm pausing for a moment, but rather like a I think it's done. And he looks down and he like grabs the cloth and he just kind of like goes like this. And it's like a cloak.
Is it an invisibility cloak?
Well, yeah, so he's made a cloak kind of out of like pure blackness. And he looks at you, Darius, and he says, I have your friend Ari to thank for this, honestly.
It didn't be a shadow.
Yeah, he says, yeah, right? Like, I have your friend Ari to thank for this. See, a spot opened up and I could do some modification on an old friend. This is for you, he just says, and he hands you it.
Does he recognize the cloak?
No, so it's not, I mean, it kind of looks like Envy's shadow, but not quite. Like, it's like almost like actual physical blackness, right? It's like just darkness itself. Whereas Envy's shadow is like shadowy, but like this is like pure blackness. Yeah, so he gives it to you.
I think Darius looks at it for a second. It's like it's light, but it's like it's not.
It's dark.
It's light in weight, but not light.
Right.
I was going for the joke.
Do you say that, Karina?
No.
Like, yeah, okay.
No,
I
that
just
was
thought you're like translating
Alyssa.
for your son.
That was just Alyssa being.
Right.
Actually, given my intelligence and wisdom scores, I think Leonechka would finally pipe up and say, "Looks quite dark to me."
Yeah.
Karina's just like,
No.
oh, honey.
What?
Oh, Mom, we really should have been teaching me to read a little sooner.
That's probably why you can't read. I
That's
can't
why.
read either.
Should have what?
Learned to read. Taught me how to read.
Well, I'm sorry, honey. I was busy teaching you.
No,
how to use
it
your
was the
research
normal.
tools, and I thought that would be more useful.
It was the normal. My assumption is that it was the normal, like when a dwarf would. So it's not like it's her fault. This is my thing.
I think Karina was definitely a stay-home mom.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So
Oh yeah.
like, I think she's just
Oh
like.
my gosh, yes. Karina was one of those homeschool moms who like everything is a lesson. Like they're going in the, like through the forest, and she's like, and this special plant here. Let me talk to you about this, right? And yeah, for sure.
I just never taught him how to read.
Yeah.
I'll be like,
Yeah.
she'd be like teaching him what it is. Like, Lena, I'm about to kill it.
Right. Like orcs have a very peculiar culture.
Well, it's like she's like teaching, like, look at the beautiful little deer. And I'm like, this was our dinner.
Yeah.
Now he wants to keep it.
Yeah.
You have to give it a name first.
And then
I know
kill
what
it?
its
Wow,
name
that's-
is. I was like, I know what its name is. Its name is lunch.
It's to respect it, honey.
I will respect it with my teeth.
Okay, so both of you take inspiration because that was definitely a revelation about you guys' past. So, for sure.
That was amazing.
And Darius totally take inspiration as well if you don't have it.
Like, I will respect it with my teeth and my stomach.
I mean, so what? If I just turn into an animal, you'll just kill me? Like,
No. No. Oh my gosh. This again.
You're way cuter than them.
I'm just saying, honey, you could be a little bit more respectful of the animals.
Flashback.
I was sort of like, well, I would if you didn't cook them so well. Wait, she probably doesn't cook.
I mean, I think I totally do. I mean, I'll kill animals. It's just that you have to honor their
proper respect,
sacrifice.
exactly.
You know, and so like,
I honor them with every bite.
Honor in every bite.
Leonechka's steak eatery. Honor in every bite.
men.
Yep.
Akito, or not Akito. Akashi.
A keto from Fruits Basket? What?
Akashi would approve of that restaurant.
Yeah, honor in every bite. Yeah, for sure. So yeah, Darius, he hands you this cloak, and you say, do you say that like it's light?
Yeah. So what is it? Is it actually? My thought is like it
so
feels light,
it
but
looks
also
like
feels
exactly the same sort of material that the ground was made of, right? But it's like soft.
Okay, so it's soft. Is it actually like really light?
Oh yeah, it's super light. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Also
Put
super
it
dark.
on, honey. Put it on.
Light. He throws it around and puts it on. You know, I haven't ever worn armor. But they
Well,
can't
that-
dig this.
I don't think that's armor, sweetie.
Would that affect his unarmored defense? I don't think so, but
No, it's not armor. So,
No, it's
Okay.
not.
what he says is it looks good on you.
What does it look like on him from like our perspective?
I mean, yeah, it just looks like he's... I mean, so Darius, I guess it kind of looks how you want it to look. Right? Like, you put it on, but I think Darius is, like, the base still stands that it's, like, wearing darkness. But, yeah, what does this look like on Darius?
So I think it looks like...
Like, does the rest of your clothing change to match it? Like, what do we see here?
Hey, Jordan, have you seen those like pictures of things where it's like something that's so black it literally doesn't reflect light?
Yeah.
Oh, that's definitely what it is, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm just debating, like, does it stay like that or do it...
But yeah, I mean, if you have an idea for, like, how it might look, that's even beyond that, too, for, like, right, like, feel free.
Maybe not for right now.
Okay.
I think for now it just kind of...
For now, it just stays the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So he says, this is Death's escape. It will do what I've hoped. It will hide you from death. And so Darius, as long as you're wearing this, you always have advantage on death saving throws.
Oh!
That's awesome!
Nice.
Yep.
This is how you get enchanted items, friends.
You have a
You
god
die,
make them for
You
you.
die, and then a
You
god
become
gets
friends with death, and
Yep.
then
Yeah.
and then have death give you a...
A cloak to hide you from death. Yeah.
This is just...
Yeah, so it's called Death's Escape, and it's a cloak of pure blackness that will hide you from death.
Cool.
Yeah.
10 ghost pickles.
Oh, he just gave us bits. Thanks.
Oh, thanks.
So, yeah, like,
I guess I gotta figure out how to add that in.
yeah, you should be able to just add an
I put mine in bio.
Yeah, you can put what it does in there. Yeah, so he kind of just like he said it looks good on you, and he says what it is, and then I guess you haven't really responded yet, so I guess he just waits for you to respond.
Okay. Death's escape. You know, I've escaped death more times than I should have. I should
He smiles and
definitely-
he says, "I know."
I should definitely be dead right now.
Yes, you should.
I'd like it.
I like it too.
very li-
Yeah, and so I think he stands up and he kind of looks around. And so there's this big tree over here. Here. And it's the only thing here that you didn't make. It's like this big dark gray tree that doesn't have any like leaves, but it just kind of hangs over everything. And he kind of glances at it, and he says, "Wait a second. Something's happening, Darius. Give me a moment." And he walks up to the tree, and he like touches it, and he seems to like there's some sort of like pulsing that happens in the tree. And he looks back at you, and he says,
Roll for initiative.
"No."
You said it before I could.
And he brings out the bone dice, and he's like, "All right, go." No, grab your minis. So he says, she's trying to contact me. I haven't talked to her in years.
It's Willow.
Yeah, and he looks back at you and he says, Darius, come here.
Darius walks over.
Yeah, so he's standing there, and...
Oh.
No, you're good.
I'll be nice. My character, and then...
Sorry, yeah. Yeah. So what happens is he kind of steps back, and he like brushes a hand across his head, and some flame comes with it. It's like this blue flame, and then he touches the tree again, and it like where the leaves would be, there's blue flame suddenly, like igniting the tree, and then the tree starts to glow, and then a ghostly ball of light pops into existence. And Willow steps out.
Willow!
And Willow has never shined brighter. She like radiates light over the entire like place, right? Everything is suddenly like greenish yellowish white, where it was kind of like gray before. And she says, Darius, it's so good to see you.
Oh.
I wish I could say the same, but that means you're dead, and that's not good.
No.
Now I've got to figure out how to get us both back.
Darius,
oh, man,
Darius, I'm not dead. And the caretaker like shakes his head and like, smiles in amusement. He's like, she's not dead, Darius. And the caretaker says, she's my servant. She's been growing up recently. Well, maybe that's not the right term. Growing into herself again. It's been a long time, Willow. And, Willow pulses, like, happily. And she says, I missed you. And the caretaker nods and says, I missed you too. It was always good working together. And, Willow kind of turns back to you, if she can turn to anyone, Darius. And she says, Darius, I'm sorry. Sorry this all happened to you.
Don't be. Sometimes, you just get cursed with a demon, and then you have to die to get rid of it. It's just a thing.
You're right, it is. I've been there.
Oh my gosh.
There was this old hag once who really was messing up everything I was trying to do. She's gone, though, somehow.
Yeah, I killed her. Ari says in the distance.
Yeah. Except, actually, I think Willow was there, so she probably doesn't say it exactly like that, because Willow was, she witnessed
following
the
us.
entire event, yeah. So she says, your friends came to visit me, Darius. They let me know what was happening, that you had passed on.
Almost.
Yes, I thought the worst, but it turns out that you weren't quite as dead as we all thought.
Yeah, I was a little surprised too, but I mean, I'm going to take what I get. Besides, it'll take a little bit more to take me out.
I believe it. So, Darius, your friends, they're going to do something really dangerous.
It's okay, they're usually doing that. Especially without my consent. But, you got to love them.
I'm helping them as much as I can, but there's only so much that I can do. And remind me, guys, did you guys tell Willow to say anything to Darius? Was that a thing at all? Or was
I don't know,
because I think he's just gone.
Yeah, okay.
Well, I don't know if we know.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, but we did have it the other way around originally.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure of that too. So
yeah.
So I think
all I said was in Draconic, I want to save Darius.
Right.
Which I don't even think she understands that. So
I don't think she does. Yeah. So she says, they're going after the orb, and the caretaker like looks at her and says, huh. Well, that's happening quicker than I thought.
Wait. You mean the orb that they found in the tower?
Yeah, and the caretaker looks at you, Darius, and says, yes, that's my orb.
You know, you did a really good job with whatever you've got going on in there, because who was it that was terrified?
Ari.
Okay. Because you scared the crap out of Ari.
He kind of smiles slightly. He's like, I know.
He doesn't get scared. Like, no, you don't understand.
Oh,
I've tried.
Darius, I know.
Ari's pointing her middle finger up towards the sky right now.
Yep. She just has a random urge to flip off the clouds.
I mean, she always has the urge to flip off God. Let's be real.
Fair. Yeah, fair.
But you're like, how are you feeling? Actually, you're probably feeling normal right now.
Yeah.
I mean, we have a dragon that's next to us, and I hate them.
Well, so that hasn't happened yet, technically, in this current timeline. So the caretaker looks at you, Darius, and says, or no, it's actually Willow who will be doing this. Willow says, yes, the seven serpents are trying to grab the orb. They're trying to take it for themselves. They've corrupted one of your servants, Master. And the caretaker sighs, says, I was afraid that they would be lost without me. I've been gone for far too long. Well, it's good that you told me this, Willow. I'll do what I can from here, but it's not much. Yeah, and so Willow says to you, Darius, I think they might be coming back soon if everything goes well. Is there anything that you want me to tell them?
Tell them I'm not done and I'm coming back. But I need their help.
Yeah, so she bobs happily and she says, I can do that.
How are they, Willow? How are the three of them doing?
They're lost, Darius. I don't think they took your death well at all. I mean, I didn't either, but they look burdened. I think Ari's taking it worst.
You know, it's a strange sort of irony. When I was there with them, I was the one that was burdened. Now that I'm dead, my burden's finally lifted. That's stupid. And I think Darius oh no, I do have it. I have it written down. Now that I'm free of that stain of dwarven kind, which is a swear phrase.
And Krina just smiles.
Right, you're right. So it's
it's totally a swear phrase in dwarven.
Yeah, obviously.
She's like, what's your language?
Honey.
And I think Darius goes.
Leonetch goes like,
I think Darius turns around and goes, "But Mom, he is."
Yeah. You're right.
He was.
I know he is, honey, but language.
Yeah, I think Willow like really like almost blushed, like some of her light turned red or pinkish red, right? Because she understands Dwarven, right?
No. I think he said it in common, but it's in like
okay, all right,
to
sure.
Dwarven.
Yeah, okay.
The literal meaning the literal
Sure.
meaning in common would be stain of dwarven kind.
I think Leonetch would pop was like, we are literally nearly dead and you're worried about language.
Yeah.
Honey, his morals can still need to be intact if he's gonna live.
Right.
I think you just go back to sharpening the whetstone. Like
Sharpening the whetstone or sharpening the sword?
sharpening with the whetstone.
Right. This whetstone, I'm gonna kill someone with it.
I want to make sure this works when I finally get the chance.
I'm going to put it on a spear so I can sharpen their souls.
Yeah. So.
Okay. So.
Yeah.
What was?
Well, you were saying, you know.
Oh yeah. Okay,
they
so
have the burden now.
now I am rid of this burden, but they are burdened. Hopefully if I can get back, we'll all feel a little lighter.
I hope so too, Darius. Something tells me that it's only going to get darker from here on out, though.
Great.
I should probably go. I'll let them know, though. I promise.
Thank you.
And then, yeah, she kind of like backs up and goes back into the tree. The tree stops being on fire. And the caretaker looks at you and says, "There's something that I need to take care of. I imagine that the orb will be awake soon, and I need to make sure that I'm there. I'm sorry. I hate to leave you."
Caretaker, I have one more question.
Of course.
When I get back, will I be in my own body from before?
I certainly
you
hope
know-
not, or else you're going to be a walking charred corpse. Raya burned your body.
Oh, good. I don't want to share a bloodline with the devil.
Darius, this doesn't happen very often, so I'm a little unsure myself. But I imagine you'll be like yourself, but different.
Good. Some things could use a little refurbishing.
Yeah, he smiles and smiles kind of.
Refurbishing.
Yeah, he smiles kind of sadly, and he says, "It's not all going to be for the better, Darius. Dying, coming back. It doesn't happen without without something happening, without a change. You're going to be marked by it for the rest of your life. You won't be the same person."
It'll be an improvement from having to share a soul with him.
I hope so, Darius, for your sake.
Me too, because it would be a bummer if, we went back and then it was just worse than before.
Yeah, he nods sadly again and says, "Darius, I'm as optimistic as I can be. There are some people in this world who think that everything will just get worse, that history can only go down. I'm not one of those people. I was before, and honestly, this job should have changed should have just further reinforced that opinion. But there is a force for good, and it's working everything. It's working it out. I wouldn't worry too much. Just enough to be careful, but not too much."
That's basically how I operate. Running in front of someone else's sword so that running in front of an enemy sword so someone else doesn't get stabbed, but making sure I live so I can take the next hit too.
You have no idea how alike we are, Darius.
He was a crash test dummy in a previous life.
It's like
Yup.
Crash, like racing a chariot.
Yep. Testing out the best chariots since. Yeah.
Sorry, take that from serious stuff.
So yeah, he says, "I'll see you soon, Darius. Hopefully in one piece." And you're not entirely sure if he means you in one piece or him in one piece.
Or
And
the
then-
manga.
Boo!
And he steps backward into the tree, and the tree lights for a brief moment, and then goes dark again.
Got to get him to teach me how to do that.
And yeah, that's the moment when everything around you gets kind of dark, darker than it was. The fire goes out, and everything is a lot colder. And you realize, like, yeah, I mean, this has happened before. Whenever he leaves, like, it's like as if some of his, like, sustaining power of this, of, like, keeping you protected is going away. But this time it feels a little bit different. It's like someone's watching you, or something is watching you, and they were staring at the spot you were at a moment before. It's like that sort of feeling, but they only just now saw you. Yeah, you get this weird, your danger sense goes off, that sort of a thing, right?
And we roll for initiative?
And he turns to the other two. Something's not right. Get ready.
I pull out my other sword. Like, it's about time.
Yeah, and then, like, I think the path leading over this way, like, from farthest away as you can get towards you, the stones start, like, coming up, like, and they, like, start, like dismantling. The path is, like, deconstructing itself.
Oh.
And yeah, eventually it gets right to where you are, and, like, the path here this way is all gone now. It's just, like, ripped up. And all of the flowers and the tombstones and stuff has also disappeared, like, that way. And so you're in this bubble, like, from the tree back to the little shelter you built that still remains. And some of your work has come undone. What do you do?
I pull out my Maka Weedle. And I head to the spot. So is it about, like, right in front of me? It would be.
Yeah, right there. Yeah.
Okay, so I go to the spot in front of me, and I have my shield and stuff out, and I just, like, I look at it and I just go, like, I look into the blackness and I go, I don't like having my work cut from me, and I slice into that, like, I just slice into the ground.
Okay, so what are you trying to do exactly?
I'm trying to, like kind of, like, how I've been forming it with the masonry thing. Instead, I'm just, like, kind of attacking it and trying to get some of that back, trying to fight off the thing and
right. So you want to, like, rebuild it with violence?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, make an attack roll.
Sweet. An attack roll with temperance?
Yep.
Roll temperance.
Oh yeah, no problem.
Nice.
Nice.
That's
yeah.
what I like
So
to
we
see.
we see the wave like undo, right? And suddenly, like, the stones go back and everything, like, rebuilds. It's not as like solid as it was before. Like, it's still, like, ephemeral, but yeah, you rebuild it. There's still one patch though, like, right here, like, right at the edge of the map, that, like, it's like a circle of blackness that still just, like, remains, and it's starting to slowly, like, creep forward. And I think you hear, in your mind, Darius, I guess all of you hear this, but it's like a ghostly sort of whisper, like, across the field, before you, say, "You don't belong here."
I just say,
What was that?
You are a foreigner.
Oh.
Darius, hide.
I think I, like, spin the cloak, like, around me,
Yeah.
and I think we start dashing.
Yeah, where would you run?
I guess.
I mean,
Here,
this is your place, right? Running anywhere else would be running into the unknown.
Yeah.
He's scared ghost tickles.
He didn't scare him, just gave him goosebumps, which is
That's
like a good thing.
good.
Goosebumps can be a good. It's a sign of something epic.
True.
I mean, I want to tell him to hide. I want to cast Pass Without Trace on him and us, I guess.
Okay. So where would you hide, Darius, if you would hide?
Think I would hide.
I'm just going to go ahead and post that in the chat.
I think I would hide us as flowers.
Okay, so you want to like build up foliage around you, basically,
Or you're turning us into flowers.
or that.
That was kind of my thought. So I think what Darius does is he tries to make a field of flowers, like just completely cover this place in flowers, and hides all three of us by making us into flowers.
Okay.
Essentially.
Make a Mason's tool roll.
Leonechka's like, oh my gosh. Like always with the flowers.
I can't cast guidance because that requires concentration. I'm already using a concentration.
Yeah. So Darius, the thing is, I mean, you start to. I mean, honestly, I feel like this is like Earthbender moment for Darius, right? He starts to like concentrate and like we hear like a rumbling, right? And what should happen is all the flowers should just like pop into existence around you, right? But instead, you just hear the rumbling get louder and louder, and then we just see Darius like drop his hands as if he's not even doing anymore, and the rumble just like this vibration around you, and it's like really deafening, and just getting louder.
Okay, plan B. Run into the black. This way. Hi ho, let's go. Meow.
So you're just gonna run into the unknown?
Yup.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, so just as a point of note, like this is, I mean, maybe Darius isn't wise enough to think about this, but I mean, like if you're gonna fight anywhere, it would be here.
Okay.
Right? Like
Well,
this is the place that you
my thought was if I'm in the darkness and I have the cloak, it would be easier to hide.
I mean, yes. Okay. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Okay. So if you guys just want to like, run into the unknown and then
Or
We can't hide.
here's a question.
Yeah.
I want to hide underneath this.
Oh, so you want to like peel up some of the ground and then go underneath?
Yeah. So I think I'll actually go back to
Okay.
We'll go back to here, and like as we're coming up to the porch of this little thing, I think I like just kind of pick it up.
Right. Like you pick up this stone porch as if it's like a rug, like a mat in front of the porch.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
And I just like have them get in, like go, and
okay. Yeah. Make a Mason's tools roll to see how well you've constructed the reality of the tunnel underneath here.
Is this a time to use inspiration, guys?
Maybe.
No, I'm not gonna use it. We'll see. If we end up fighting, then we end up fighting.
No.
Well.
Yeah, I mean, so you do it, but it's like, let's see, what
Is it like it's like we're actually hiding under a rug and you can see the
I
bumps?
think so, right? Yeah, it's just like, I mean, this is literally like a stone porch, but it's as if it's made of like cloth. So like you go underneath it, and then it's just like on top of you.
Darius, I don't think this worked.
Well, I don't see you coming up with any ideas, Dad.
My idea is to kill it.
It doesn't always work. Usually, not always. We're trying to hide from death, not kill death. Death can't die.
I would say that because
I mean, I wouldn't say that to your friend Shibolba, but
well, no, I mean, I have an idea of what I would want to say, well, specifically what Toity would be thinking right now,
Right.
but I don't think I have the intelligence score to make that.
okay. So I mean, you're basically not hiding at all. So pass without trace is like us, like a.
Well, I was gonna, go under there and then hide, but
I mean, you can still
okay.
try to like hide in the shadows somewhere, but
yeah, I think it's like, okay, yeah, this isn't working, and I think we all get out, and then we just like
go around the shelter and like into the shadows of the building. Or
We
something.
can't hide in the shadows is the problem. You stick out like a sore thumb, I think.
Well, we get a +10 to.
Yeah, you guys
That's
can
true.
make a roll. So
stealth.
So how I think Darius tells them to hide in the graves.
Oh yeah. I mean,
Okay,
what better way to
but-
fool death than to be dead?
Okay.
Right?
But I think we had to be with a certain radius, and I don't think
Yeah.
Darius's mom would leave.
I can.
I mean, Darius can be there, right? Darius has his
Yeah.
cloak. If you guys pretend to be dead, and then he's just standing right there in the shadows,
Is
right?
this like a little tree right here?
Yep.
Okay,
so I think
right
he's hiding
here.
like right here
Okay.
in the shadows beside this tree and by these graves.
Sure.
And so I guess we all roll our hidey hides.
Yeah. Everybody go ahead and
Stealth
roll
rolls.
stealth +10.
Oh, my stealth isn't good anymore.
Oh.
Oh.
15, 24,
14.
14.
Like father, like son.
Yep.
I have a -1 to dexterity.
right?
I rolled better than you guys.
Oh my gosh, yeah. That's really funny. I mean,
Well,
yeah,
she's
so
hiding in the ground and she's a druid. and
Exactly,
it's,
yeah, this is
plants and
normal.
stuff, and, yeah.
I mean, yeah, I feel like Lionechka and Darius are just too they want to live, right? Like they're too lively of people anyway. They can't pretend to be dead. That's not in their nature.
Well, Darius doesn't need to try to pretend to be dead.
I
He's
mean,
just trying to
yes.
hide, yeah.
It is in my nature
I mean,
to
so are
kill,
we.
not to die.
I mean, save it, honey. You're already dead.
Right. And so I think what happens is basically you sense the presence getting stronger and coming closer, Darius. And I think the last thing we get before we go to break here and before we do initiative is we just see the audience like sees at the edge of the map, like just starting like walking on this stone path. We see a dark cowled figure. Yeah, just a dark cowled figure, and we'll find out what he looks like specifically when we return. Just walking towards them, and you hear like the cackling and hissing of some other things coming behind him as well.
Awesome.
So he has become death, destroyer of worlds. Here we go, people. We'll be right back from Eternal, yes, right after this.